Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the HollingsWorthless Program. This will be for Wednesday, June 12th. No cocaine co-hosting. No Jack the Ripper co-hosting. It's just me solo with my guest, Anwar Newton.
What's up?
Anwar is, I'll do your credits afterwards. So let me rattle off some of them. Co-creator and co-host of This Week Sucks Tonight.
Yes.
Creator of, what's it called? The worst show.
Oh, literally the worst.
Literally the worst show ever, which just ended, right?
Yep.
Which I was talking to Mike. I had Mike on last week. And is there another show you do?
Not as of right now. I have my hands in other shows, but they're all on hiatus right now.
Except for This Week Sucks Tonight.
So This Week Sucks Tonight is the only thing that's like actively you can go see right
Which
now.
is every Thursday night at Stand Up Live in Phoenix. Like that first plug of the show. So I met Anwar. The first time I met you was at This Week Sucks Tonight at that bar. Brian Ritchie brought me.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We had it at Crescent Barham still, and
Yes.
you came up, and I remember you had a look on your face like, "What the hell is this?" when you got up there.
Yeah. So all Richie told me is he was like, yeah, this is the way he said it. He was like, they do this thing up front, and Mike, who I had met but I didn't really know at the time, and he was like, Mike plays like this almost like racist guy, but he also knows like hip hop. and then he said, and like you'll do a set, and then they'll like interrupt you and like shit on you and stuff. And I was like, kind of like the Benz interruption. He's like, yeah, but but it also might help. And then I remember Richie was like, oh, make a reference to some local guy that had like fucked over, it was a booker or something. He's like, oh, dude, this will kill. And I go, really? And he goes, yeah. And I go, okay.
Remember
yes.
that,
And I do the reference, and literally you were the only person that laughed, and then I just started shitting on Richie on the stage.
Yeah, because he gave you the worst advice.
I was like, fucking great reference, Richie. Fuck. And now, how did you guys come up with that idea for that show?
I had gotten approached by the venue owner of a Crescent Ballroom. He wanted to like do an 11 p.m. comedy show. And I was like, I've seen that done in other cities where it's like the last show of the night and all the comics go there. But it's usually in real cities, you know, where comics are. Not in Phoenix where it's not like a ton of headliners just hanging out.
Right.
So I was like, it could be done. I was like, let's talk about it and maybe I could come up with something. Next thing I know, the next week, they had me on the calendar at the venue. I'm like, I didn't even say I was going to do this. I start freaking out. I'm like, well, I don't want to do. I was like, well, they already have me on the calendar. They've already like agreed to all this stuff that I didn't really agree to. And I hit up Mike. I'm like, Mike, you want to help me do a show? I don't want to do a regular stand-up show. And the only concept I had in mind is I wanted to do a current events show. I wanted to talk about what was currently going on in the world because I felt like everything that is joke-wise on current events is on Twitter.
Yeah.
And I was like, why can't we do that in like a live format? So it was like a weekend update ripoff, Daily Show update inspired kind of affair. And then from there, it turned into what it is now.
Well, okay, so for the listeners / watchers, viewers, whatever, explain like the whole format of the show.
So for the first 30 to 40 minutes, Mike and myself, we go through the news.
Suited and booted.
Like we cover the news, we write 30 brand new minutes on current events, and it's our own take and angle on it with our own little jokes that we've sort of seeded in the show's format. And then after that, the last 30 to 40 minutes is stand-up comics that come up. But if you're dog shit, then we're like, we just take over. But if you're killing, we're like hype men. Like we add fuel to the fire.
Yeah.
So it's like a lot. It's a lot for an hour. And it's not even an hour and a half, which is like regular show runtime. We try to end it like an hour and 20 minutes. So you come out of that motherfucker just like, whoa, I can't wait till next week.
Now, when was the first one you did?
March like 5th, 2017, I think.
Wow. And
it's the first week of March.
I mean, is it the like most successful independent run show here in Phoenix? You can
Well, I
brag a
think
little
literally
bit.
the worst show ever was the first one.
Okay.
I don't think for Phoenix, I don't think we had an independent run show that was. I think the only thing before that was Comedy on Fire, which Matt Micheletti used to run. That was like this big indie show, but it was just a mic.
Okay,
it was just a mic, a book show. And then I came up with literally the worst forever, and then it became like this huge thing. And then I came up with This Week Sucks Tonight, and it also became this huge thing. And I was like, oh shit, I like know how to make shows. Like that's what I always wanted to do. Too.
Yeah.
I always wanted to produce and make shows.
Well, that's okay. So that's God. See, without even knowing it, perfect segue. Because one of the things when we were talking at what was that bar we were at that Mike?
Genuine.
No. The Irish. No, before that, the Irish bar. You were out in the smoking section. We were talking.
Oh, Rosie McCaffrey's.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I thought that was interesting. You were saying that your goal is producing. You like producing.
I like
which
making
is interesting.
shows.
And what got us on that topic is I said to you that you have one of my favorite jokes. And it's a joke. So comics. A joke's a good joke when a comic's like, "Fuck, why didn't I?"
Yeah, I've had so many people I say that too.
Well, dude, so Anwar, and I'm not going to do the joke, and I don't want you to do the joke, but I'll just give the premise is that basically white people took calling black people colored people, and they thought they were slick and changed it to people of color.
Yeah,
and you did this whole thing calling it out, and it's so brilliant. You did. I saw you doing it at the San Diego Comedy Festival, and that was my first time seeing you do stand up because I only ever see you do the This Week Sucks Tonight.
Yeah.
That's all I ever. And I was like, "Fuck, that is a great fucking joke." I was like, "God damn it, why?"
You ever have like those jokes? As soon as you like think of it, you're like, "Oh, I can't wait to get to this." And that was one of them. I remember just thinking about it, and I remember people of color came in and it was like, it was on the tail end of the thug shit that went down. Like black people got really mad because Richard Sherman on the Seattle Seahawks got called a thug. And it was like this huge thing where we were like, oh, thug actually means the N-word, and we don't like that. And then from there, we were like really delicate about what we referred to black people. And then all of a sudden, we landed on people of color. And I was just like, what did we didn't change anything. That was a long, we didn't change shit. Everything's still fucked. We got to this nice way of referring to us, and it doesn't mean anything. It has no, and I got so exhausted. And I thought about it, I was like, well, we used to be called colored people. Like, now we're people of color? How is this better? How are we happy with this?
It's funny because I wanted to write, I like wrote down the premise of writing a joke about how the news would always they would say the urban youths. And I'm like, I know what you're fucking trying to say.
That sounds like a dope ass rap group too. the urban youths.
Oh God. But getting back to, so you want to, do you want to eventually stop doing stand-up totally and just
God, don't we all want to get out of this at some point?
I don't. I like, it's like, I get why people would, but I like, it's just, and I've talked about this on the podcast. Here's my fear though. I plan to do stand-up till the day I die, and I love it, and I have that passion for it. But here's my biggest fear. It was about maybe 6 or 7 months ago. I'm at a club in Vegas, right? A club I'd been trying to get in. This guy finally, he was like, I'll come watch. I do a spot, goes great. I'm in the green room with the guy, right? And he was like, hey, you did great. He's like, hit me up for, dates and we'll get you back in here. I'm in the green room with him, with one other person, which is this guy that's probably 60 to 65 that had done a guest spot on the show. As I'm talking, so I'm talking to the booker like this. We're about this distance, and the other guy's like right here, and we're the only people in the green room. As I'm talking to him, and the guy's like, "Yeah, give me." This guy just interrupts. He goes, "Hey, well, what about me? I'm here, like, ha ha." And then so he stops talking to me, and then starts talking to this guy, and I'm in the room for all this conversation, and the conversation is him saying to this 60, 65-year-old guy, hey man, I like you and everything, but I don't know where I can use you, because I wouldn't use you in the host, you're not really high energy, and it'd be one thing if like the audience thought you're funny and I didn't, and he's like, I think I'm good to the old guys here, but I just don't, and I'm watching, and I'm like in this corner like, why do I have to be here for this? But then I also in my head as I was like, is this my fucking future? And that's what was terrifying.
I see what you mean now.
I'm trying to get into this club, and I'm like, dude, and I was just like, is this a conversation I'm going to have with this guy?
That's a raw thing to have to consume.
Dude.
Like that. It's right in front of you. Just like, oh, no.
And I'm watching it real time, and I'm like, and I'm just going, holy fuck, what's this play out down the road? Am I this guy in 10, 15 years?
Fuck.
Dude, and that's the most terrifying thing to me.
Yeah.
Because with stand-up, there is no, like, what do you have a day job right now?
Yeah.
What's, I mean, if you can say, I don't know if you can say it.
I work at a law firm doing fucking paperwork.
Okay, perfect. So, law firm, like, let's say you were answering calls, or any job, there's a path. Like, if you do these things, you get a bonus, and if you continue, you'll get a promotion to this job.
Yeah.
So you know what things do. And with stand-up, there is no path. So, and
Well, especially not now. There used to be.
Yeah.
There used to be a clear path. Like, you get on Johnny Carson, you get seen, everything blows up from there. That it used to be, but now with the internet and social media, everything, you just make what you want.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what that is that you want, then you're just kind of out here,
dude.
And I know you. We both probably know a ton of dope ass comics. They don't know what they want, and they're just kind of out here. They're great on stage, they're amazing, but this like they're just here. And I'm like, if you're okay with it, then that's cool. I mean, I know there's always conversations with with black comics in particular. One conversation I always hear all the time is in reference to Tony Baker. So you know Tony Baker. Tony Baker, I hear people say, I wonder when Tony Baker is going to pop, or I wonder when Tony Baker is going to really reach the masses and really hit that, get to the Chris Rock level, that level. And I'm like, what if Tony Baker is happy with where he's at now? He has a massive social media following. He sells out any venue he wants. Is that not enough? When do you sit back and say, this is enough?
It's so crazy you mentioned Tony, because so that Kev on Stage's tour, Tony features for him.
Yeah.
And so, and I've talked about this on the podcast too. Like I always was like, and I'm not saying it's right, but I've always was like, again, the old school, like you do your time at the mics, you grind it out, you build your time in this and that. And my New Year's resolution this year, I told Kev, like, I want to learn from him, like the social media game. And him, Tony, and To Hear More all have, like, I got to post one thing a day minimum.
Yeah.
That's what Kev was like. You got to post at least one thing a day. It's going to feel weird at first. And kind of piggybacking off, like with Tony, like Kev's in a position where he was first, agents like kind of were approaching him, but then they were like, we're going to pass. And Kev at first, I think, was kind of like, kind of hurts, even if, but now he's at a point where he's like, I don't need them, and I would just be giving money away.
Exactly.
And he's got over 3 million followers. Dude, like you said, he's selling out these one-nighters.
And some people would consider him not there yet, too. Some people look at that and be like, oh, I wonder when he's going to get here. It's like, but he's here.
Yeah.
Like, he's not here. He's in another fucking mountain at the same level. Do you understand the change of the game right now? You can make whatever you want. And even on the social media front, it's like, you have the decision to go down that path. You don't have, like, I don't want to do the social media thing.
Right.
I do as much as necessary to promote and get content, but I can't do the grind. I can't do the post every day. I can't. I just can't do it. So I put all my energy into the live show and being able to pitch a scripted show. That's the route I'm gonna take.
Yeah.
And however far that takes me, great. And hopefully I get to a point where I recognize, oh, this makes me happy.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna get down that road and then look over the railings at the social media hustle and go, oh, I need to be posting more. No, I'm in this lane and I'm fucking going a good speed and it's a nice car, man.
Yeah.
I should be happy.
Yeah, dude. I think comics. I don't think comics in general are ever satisfied, which I think it can be a good and bad thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's the bad is like, you're always looking at what everybody else is and am I doing enough, blah, blah, blah. But the good is like you're always striving to be better and improving this.
Iron sharpens iron.
Yeah, exactly. And so your ideal scenario, we'll say 6 months, 5 years. What would that be with the show?
6 months, I would love to be touring with the show.
Which you started kind of doing right now with festivals.
Doing the festival
and stuff.
circuit right now. And we're popping into LA as much as we can. 6 months, I would love for the show to just be touring a little bit more and still like picking up an audience. I wanted the audience to continually grow. 5 years, I would love to be in a writer's room for a crazy, dope show that I have some sort of creative input in, and multiple, if not that. I would love to just be in writers' rooms producing. And
Your own show? I mean, ideal. The ideal. What's the ideal?
Ideal?
Your ideal, Anwar. Your ideal. Not like this would be cool. Like if the stars aligned and your dream scenario 5 years from now.
Okay, my own show. Yeah, I would do my own show. Maybe 2. I would love to be like the creator of this idea and have a writer's room and a team of people like, oh, we're making this idea come true.
That's sick.
Yeah. So I'm old school with like the idea of comedy and what fame is to me. Like, I'm like, if you don't have a show, then what? I'm like, if you're not on TV, then what? But that doesn't mean shit. Everyone's on Netflix. They're on like YouTube is a thing. You know what I mean? Like you got Amazon.
You literally are just counteracting exactly your thing of like they're not there, but they're here.
That's how I see it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like I look at social media sometimes and I'm like, who the fuck are these people? You ever like just look under like you ever go like Drake's Instagram and then you look down the comments. Everyone's like trying to comment and clout chase on Drake's post, but then you see all these little names or all these blue check marks. So you just click. I'm like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
And you click on it. They have 5 million followers. I'm like, why don't I know who you are?
Oh God.
Why don't I know who you are? These people, they're like in a different zone, and I don't consider it fame. I consider it something else. I'm like, bitch, if you don't have a show, you're not famous to my world. I'm like, oh, he's got a show. That's where I'm at.
I look at it like what's your talent? That's like, like if it's a girl that just shows her ass.
I get it.
I won't follow her, but I'll like the picture.
Well, you do the dangerous. That's danger, dog.
Why? Why's that dangerous?
I ghost follow. Never like a picture. Scroll all day long.
But it always cracks me up when they're like, "Oh, I'm a public figure." And I'm like, no, your figure's just public. Yeah. It's not that you're a public figure. And like they. Like a girl that literally, it's just pictures of her asshole or whatever. And then she'll be like,
Instagram is this with this pictures of her asshole?
But then they'll be like, oh, I'm going to be hosting this party. And you're like, what do you do? Are you just going to stand there and be like, fucking, hey, here I am?
There's a lot of those types of people. Like, it's just people that don't do anything. And then there's the worst part is there's a generation of people that want to be those people. They want to do nothing like these people. I talk to my nieces, they're talking about, I want to be a model, and I'm like, oh man, no. Like, do something.
Like,
do you have a skill? Yeah, be a stripper. Have some athleticism. Yeah. But you get to these people, and they're like, they don't fucking do anything. And then you see people, they're like, well, I got to be like them. I got to have these followers. So they go purchase followers, and they do all this crazy shit. It's like, who are you even? Like, what are you doing? You're buying this image of somebody that you're. I mean, we know the conversation, but it's like every time I see it, I'm just like, why would that be your goal?
Yeah.
To, like, you ever like follow somebody and they're like, well, you have somebody like follow you and they're like, well, follow me back. And I'm like, why the fuck would I follow you? You don't do anything. I'm a comedian. There's a purpose to you following me, so you can see me do my set again. Why the fuck would I follow you? I don't need to see your dumb, boring, nothing life. I don't need to. You should be ashamed inviting people into your nothing life where you do nothing all day.
This is going to be the clip that they'll be like, this Anwar's a real asshole.
You should be embarrassed. Why do you want me to see your dysfunctional family? I don't need to see your memes. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, the memes that they got from someone else. Yeah, and don't give them credit.
You curate a meme account from other people's memes? You want me to follow you? I have a life to live. Oh, fuck. Jesus Christ.
Now, did you start stand-up here in Phoenix?
Yeah, so I'll always be a Phoenix comic.
Now, how long you been doing stand-up?
6 years.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And you mentioned one thing interesting. You were saying, like, black comics looking at Tony Baker and this and that. Is there, like, do they have black rooms here in Phoenix?
Let's see. They don't have many. I know Bobby Johnson runs a lot of shows where he gets a black crowd out.
Is that the one that he did a Black History show at Stand Up Live?
Yeah, so he'll do like.
You know, I was supposed to close that out.
That's amazing,
dude. Hold on. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but so I was coming into town.
Now to finish the show, the biggest whitest motherfucker.
Okay, so I'm coming into town, and Casey's like, oh, dude, I'll fucking throw you up on this show. I was like, all right, cool, not knowing anything.
Great Casey impersonation.
Yeah, fucking, it's kind of a Burr one almost too. And so or no, Casey be like, hey, what's up, kid? Yeah, that's anyway. So I pull into the show. And I see it's a Black History Month show, comedy show. And I'm like, all right, cool. You know, I do black rooms, whatever. And then Bobby comes out and he goes, hey, so my headliner, I don't know if he's going to show up or anything, so we may have you close the show out. And I go, what? I go, wait, you want me to close out your Black History Month show?
Did you at least put a daishiki on? I mean, Jesus Christ.
Oh, my God, dude. There was, and then I went into the green room. And he tells them, he's like, yeah, so
the music stops.
Yeah, dude, totally. And he goes, yeah, so Big Irish Jay is probably going to be closing this out. And I don't remember who the comic was, younger comic. He was like, really? And I go, hey man, I get it. I fucking get it. Luckily, whoever the guy was that was headlining, he showed up, and I didn't have to close it out. I did not want to close that out.
I bet you would have been a million times funnier just because you were up there and just because you would have addressed it immediately.
Oh, yeah.
I know people would have been fucking dying laughing.
All I did to start my set, there was two white girls in the front, and I immediately started shitting on them. So the crowd was totally on my side. It's like, you guys just here to try and get some black dick? And just kept shitting on him, and so the crowd was on board. But anyway, sorry. So Bobby Johnson does
shows where he gets a good black crowd out. But other than that, I really don't know. They're like, it's not. Every once in a while, this venue called Michael's will put on a show, but it's like when you want to do the show, and it's kind of a soul black venue. The only mic I know that attracts a massive black audience, and I would consider it a black room, would be, it's not even a comedy mic, it's just an open mic.
Gotcha.
For, you know, singers, rappers, soul, poetry, all that shit. You know what it is. And it's called Poetic Soul, and this dude named Cosmic Cadence runs it, and he gets like 200, 250 like black and Latino people out.
Yeah.
He has a live band. It's like a show. It's like, you get there and you're like, this is an open mic. This feels like a show that everyone prepared for. That's how good the open mic is. But he rarely gets comedians out there. So I'll go there because I've been performing in front of white audiences. I'm in Phoenix. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'll go out there and see what shit does and doesn't hit for black audiences. Like, I have like this joke. I always close on this joke where I play around the N-word. And it smashes.
So do
I. I took it from you, actually. I built on it. I added tags, you know. I freshened it up. So I use it, and the white audiences usually blow up on it. They're just like, because it's ridiculous. Because it's the word to them is like, whoa. But black audiences are like, really, nigga? As soon as they hear it, they're just like, really? That's your joke? That's the energy I got from that room.
Interesting.
So I'm like, all right, now I got to work on this joke.
That's so interesting, because that's like the opposite of like that Blacks joke when I did it at Genuine for a white audience.
Right.
Like, I do that joke, black audience does great.
Yep.
I do it white audience, and they're like, fuck, I don't know if I should laugh. And I'm like, fucking boo. I get so angry at that shit. Now, you're 6 years in, are you, do you headline right now?
There's not a lot of not like 40, 45 minutes. I've never done that. A lot of half-hour headlining gigs. I actually don't even know what my 45 looks like. I don't have a lot of opportunities to do that. So
is that a Phoenix thing in general, or just you're like, you don't really aren't looking for it? So
it's both. Okay. I think it would be both. It's not a lot of opportunities for comics to really do like headlining sets. Mike Turner was doing a show where he was giving people the headlining set at the club. He did this show called the Trash Brothers Show. He would book the whole lineup, and then he would close it out with somebody, and they were able to do 40, 45 roughly. And it's like, that's a headlining set. And I've always thought, like, if I wanted to try to see what it looked like, I would do that show. But he kind of hung it up. He doesn't do it as much as he used to, because we're doing This Week Sucks Tonight, and that takes up like so much time. So
now, how did you and Mike get together? How did you guys?
I mean, we're just out here. He was actually one of the first comics where I heard the joke and I was like, "That's an amazing joke."
Is it the N-word joke?
It was the N-word. I took that. And we've been friends ever since. So we were bonded. I saw, he did one joke. I was like, wow, that was a really great joke. And then I think, really, when we became cool is he was wearing a Delicious vinyl shirt. And I was like, word? I was like, who is this white boy wearing this Delicious vinyl shirt? Which is crazy. If you don't know the Delicious Vinyl, the listener and watcher, it's one of the most amazing record institutions out of Detroit. Jay Dilla and everybody I love came out of. So I was like, oh, he's down. I was like, I fuck with this shirt. And then we just started rapping about hip hop, and we realized we were like the same dude. He grew up in Cincy. I grew up in Baltimore, basically the East Coast. Same upbringing, same music, same everything. And so then we just started the vibe. And then you got that best friend energy where you like, you don't even have to say shit. We started having that, and
finishing each other's sentences.
Yeah, like I could say some shit. Everything was inside ball, and you're just like fucking with people at that point. And I was like, yo, we should like use this and create our show. That's why I hit him up first. I was like, because we could play this inside ball and do these little build off each other so quickly, and that's like it's usually the selling point of the show to most people. Usually when people come out of that show, they don't say, the way you roasted them was amazing, or the comics were great, or we really love when you covered the news. They enjoy that. They always say, y'all two's chemistry is
absolutely
crazy.
I remember that from the first time. Like, I didn't know you. I literally, before the show, I think I shook your, or no, I think I didn't shake your hand until after the show. Or
you didn't respect me. You didn't respect me at
all. But I remember immediately, the vibe, and it is like the energy is like the chemistry is so great.
Yeah.
Now, do you feature around the clubs here?
Yeah, I do feature hosting around the clubs mostly.
Do you go out on the road and feature at all?
Dude, I don't ever perform outside the city.
Do you have a desire to, or you just
do.
Okay.
And I'm starting to get my feet wet with the comedy festivals.
Okay, yeah.
But I've never gone out and got on the road. I always had a fear early on. I didn't want to go to other cities and do jokes because I always thought I would get my jokes stolen because I didn't have complete control over the material yet. I think I had this idea in my head that I wanted to get to a point where no one can deliver this joke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's clearly my joke. So even if you took it word for word, you couldn't hit it with the same energy or people won't believe you. I wanted my jokes to be on that level, and they'll never get there. I'm going to quit in a month, actually.
I had a guy steal one of my jokes, and not only stole my joke, but was doing my voice inflections.
Oh, that's weird.
It was.
Did you kill him? You did kill him.
All right, let's go on. Let's move on. No, he admitted to it. He messaged me through my website, admitted that he had stole the joke. But then he was like saying, somebody gave me the joke. I'd never seen you do it. Which all that was horseshit.
Yeah, what a bitch.
But I was just like, just don't do the fucking joke anymore.
Were you flattered a little bit?
No, I was pissed. Yeah. I was fucking. I've had it, and that same joke, I've had a few people like steal it or dance around it, and I mean it's a good fucking joke,
Dude, I had a comic. There was a younger comic on this scene who asked if he could use my joke, and I was like, "What do you mean?" He was like, "I just wanted you have this joke about growing older, and I had this idea. I was wondering if you would let me use it and play around." I'm like, I still use that joke on stage. Why don't you? Why don't you write your own material, dude? He was genuinely confused that was a dog shit idea.
Oh,
I was like, what are you?
I had a guy offer to buy one of my jokes, but I was like, I'm good.
How much did he offer?
I didn't even ask. I just was like, nah.
We went to Raleigh, North Carolina, and had our Lyft driver try to sell us a joke, which is insane because you always hear people like, oh, here, listen to this joke.
Yeah.
They want to give it to you. He was like, I got this joke, but y'all gotta buy it. I was like, what the fuck? And then he was like talking it up. We're sitting in the back. We're like, all right, man. Like, what would the price be for the joke? We're like asking him at the price. And then finally he like keeled. He was like, I'm just gonna tell you guys. And it was the worst joke I've ever heard. He was like, you know why you got that fake hair in your head? Because you're Chinese. And we were like, what are you talking about? He's like, I'm talking about my wife. She always buying fake hair. the Chinese hair. So that's not even a joke. That's a conversation you need to have with your wife, okay? What the fuck? You're going to sell that to me?
Can I use it?
You can have it for $50.
Yeah, that's the one that gets me on like fucking Jimmy Fallon.
I turn on, you leave, I turn on the TV, and you're on.
Yeah,
What the fuck is going on? I said you're Chinese.
Oh fuck! Now, do you think? So you said you're a black comic in Phoenix, predominantly white. Is Phoenix also like an old white or just white?
Yeah.
Well, you have colleges, so
it's middle of the road. It's more like 30s. Like there's a lot of like 30-year-old motherfuckers out here.
do you think Phoenix is starting and doing or cultivating your act here in Phoenix has helped you or hindered you, or just it is what it is?
I think it's helped. Yeah, my act, yeah, sure.
Way to have confidence
my
in that.
act, whatever
that fucking thing is.
whatever that thing is I do, or I feel like I'm God on stage for 5 minutes. That's been great here in the Valley. I think it has, but I know it's also kept me in a certain place because I hate having to go to another city and then I'm like, oh, all these references that have made the jokes funny, they're all local. Like,
Do you do a lot of local references?
Well, I thought, like, when I was writing them, I thought they were bigger than like Circle K. I have a joke about Circle K. I'm like, oh, the energy of the Circle Ks in Phoenix is not like the Circle Ks in other cities. It's the joke I have is very specific to how you experience a Circle K in this city. So I went to Raleigh and I tried to do it, and it sort of worked, but it was clear that people don't experience Circle K the way we do here.
Gotcha.
Circle Ks here are notoriously sketchy, drug havens filled with tweakers and people that should be gunned down in a back alley to be put out of their misery. But Circle K's in other city is just a gas station.
Yeah.
There's none of that sketchy energy.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, damn, this joke doesn't really work. So now I'm currently in like write new jokes mode. Like furiously coming up with new material that's more accessible, less like ground and living in Phoenix.
That's smart.
And the first joke I'm coming up with is that I'm ugly, so it's like it's accessible. You know what? People get it.
Hey, that's my bit.
You know, I'll sell that to you when I'm done with it.
My whole Chinese hair thing. Well, the one thing I was wondering is because I do black rooms. I'm regular at the Comedy Union in LA and stuff.
It shows.
And
it shows you're like it does, dude. I
don't know what that means.
It shows because you're ready to fight. You're ready to fight an audience on stage.
I get annoyed at like I hate fucking woke white people because usually woke white people are white people that never were around black people until they decided to become woke. Yeah, you know what I mean. It's like fucking. Oh, it's so
I hate
annoying.
woke white people because all of them have a black joke. Have you noticed that? Every woke ass white motherfucker, especially like fat woke white women, they all have a joke about black people. I'm like, but you're gonna police the rest of us. Yeah. But you get to do this. Cool.
Interesting. That's fucking
cool.
That's fucking yeah. I just got into it. Not really get into it, but like, so I started in Boston. Then I was in Seattle for 5 years, and then in LA like 5 years ago.
Predominantly black cities. Amazing.
Yeah. Why do you think I chose them? No, but in Seattle. So my old roommate and one of my best friends, Manny, is black, and I was house MC for a while at a club, and he took over for me when I left, and he put up a thing asking. Because he's fishing for a joke he's going to work on. But did anybody else think Mary Kay, growing up, did you have like a crush on Mary Kay Letourneau? Which he's like,
oh, Letourneau.
Yeah, the one that
they married that little kid.
Because she lives in Seattle.
Really?
And Manny met her at a show, and he was like, man, I still have like this. Fuck, I remember her when she was like a crush, right? So he posted that as a poll, and these fucking Seattle comics were like, yo, you can't, she's a rapist. She raped a boy and you're making fun. And so he took it down and he was like, Social Justice Warriors 1, Comedy 0 or whatever. And then like some lady commented on there that was like, Manny, she said, quote, Manny, if you are not X, X should not be the punchline. And I said, and I quoted that, and I go, this may be the worst advice I've ever heard in my life.
Listen, talk to me when you use Puerto Ricans as a punchline. It always kills.
Dude, seriously. But I said to him, I go, yeah, you don't make fun of X if you're not X. I go, okay, so all you fucking woke Seattle people, no more Republican jokes, no more misogynistic.
But we're punching up.
Yeah.
We're punching up from the gravel pit that we forced ourselves in. We can't climb out of it.
You know who had the best commentary on punching up? Kurt Metzger. He said, do you know what he said? He said
he's always going to war with social justice.
But he had a great point. He goes, people saying punching up, punching down. He goes, I view everybody as an equal to me. So I'm punching across. If you say you're punching up, then you're punching down, then you're saying you believe this person is below you.
Yeah.
I think everybody's equal. I was like, that's fucking great.
Well, that's a great way to put it, man. Because you know what? I have a joke where I talk about a transgender friend of mine.
Yeah.
And it gets, whenever it's like in a woke ass, like very lefty room, it locks up because they're like, oh, you're punching down. I'm like, I'm not punching down at any, this is my fucking friend.
Yeah.
You think that person is below me.
Yeah.
You've put that energy in the room.
Exactly.
That person's way above me. I'm so low.
Dude, that's like comic, who was it? There was a comic, I won't say his name because I don't know if he gives a shit, but he was like, he had a great joke when I was at House of Comedy. He has a great joke, and I was like, dude, that's a fucking great reference. He talks about having sex on the beach, and his dick's covered in sand. It looks like a churro.
Oh, that's Mike Ender?
No, it's Charles.
It's Charles?
Charles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They're both the same person.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna say, but he was saying, he's like, is that hacky, or like, I feel like it's a dick joke.
Hilarious.
I go, it's great. Everybody knows exactly what you're talking about. It's a perfect, puts a perfect picture in your mind. And I'm like, that's like, some people. I have a joke about online dating about where I went out with a midget. 100% true story. And like some people will say, oh, online dating is hacking this and that. And I'm like, how many fucking marriage jokes are there? I'm not married. I can't do a married joke.
Yeah.
I do online dating. I talk about my life. So I'm going to do this fucking story that happened.
Yeah, I've also never listened to a married joke and be like, oh, another married comic.
Exactly. Yeah,
I'm like, let me hear your shitty relationship.
Yeah,
I'm ready. I'm on board.
Yeah.
I want to hear how your shitty dating life lives. Hopefully it's hilarious.
But my whole point of I backed out of the original question I wanted to ask you is talking to like people of color. And see, that's why that's such a great joke now. Is because anytime I think of that, I think of your joke. And I think about it, I'm like, it's such a fucking great, because that's what I always would say. I was like girls would be like, what kind of, I go, oh, I usually date women of color. And now anytime I say
get weird about it.
I'm fucking, yeah, it's fucking great, dude. It's great. But talking to minorities, I guess that sounds worse to me, but non-white comics in LA, like a lot of them would say, like it's hard for them to get into clubs and shit like that. So I made a point of it. If I'm not going on the road with like my best friend Kane, I've been taking Jack a lot recently, but I would always take like minorities, like my buddy Peter, who's Mexican, and my buddy Amir, who's black and Arab. So I'm hitting 2 check marks on that one. But I was going to ask you if you like, do you get a lot of road work or getting into clubs, stuff like that?
It's not that I don't get it, it's that I haven't sought it out. You know what I mean? I've owned my domain. There's no website up. I've owned it for 2 years. There's no website up on it. I don't I don't do the work to get on the road. So that's sort of part of what I'm trying to get better at this year. Keeping in contact, getting work, trying to figure that out, because eventually I want to jump off that cliff and quit the day job.
Yeah.
So that comes with maintaining relationships with the clubs and bookers. But that's interesting you talked about like taking, I thought about, and it's very arrogant of me to think about this, but I'm like, if I ever did headline, what kind of person would I want to open for me? And for a while I was like, well, I would put person I think I'm fun. It's funny that it came up with me. And then I listened to how Jesselnick does his openers. He always does women because he used to go on the road and go to different cities, and then he would be the one to go to local scene, pick something out of there, give that opportunity there. And the people who always wanted to open for him were basically him.
Yeah.
So he started just doing women because their style is always different than his.
Yes.
And so I was like, yo, if I ever hit the road, I think I would try to always have a black woman open for me, because a black woman comedian's energy is always way different than what I'm gonna bring to the stage. So that's what I thought. I thought about that, and now I just need to be a headliner.
It's funny. So I used to tour with Doug Benson. I started out like I would host, and Graham Elwood would feature.
Oh,
do you know Graham?
Him. Yeah, I know Graham.
And whenever we would do those shows, and like Doug, same kind of thing. Like Graham and I, neither one of us smoke weed. I don't really smoke weed. I don't really party or this or that. And so there's not going to be material crossing over, right?
Yeah.
But Doug always had a great joke. He's like, whenever I go on the road, I always request a Graham and a J. This is great. And I like when I take somebody on the road, I talked about this at the San Diego Fest about road comedy or whatever. Being a road comic is, excuse me, two things. One, they got to be funny. Like I'm not just going to bring somebody on the road because they're cool, I don't fuck female I don't fuck comics. I don't know why I specified
I fuck
female.
the dudes though.
All on the road.
So you better have a wide asshole, buddy.
I mean, you are my opener.
Big J fucks male comics. So if you want to open for him,
That's the rumor now. I don't know why I was like, I don't fuck female comics. No, I've never. I don't. That's like just.
happy gay pride, Jay.
Yeah, I just. Tony's gonna tour with me now. Tony Tripoli. No, I don't fuck around with like trying to sleep with comics, right? But
me neither.
Just not my thing. Whatever. But I always say the comic that I bring with me, they got to be I want them to be a crusher. I want them to be funny. And then the hang is most important. Like I said at the festival, I was like, if you are a woman chaser or whatever, a dick chaser, whatever you're into, and you like to do coke and drink, I don't judge you. Awesome. I have friends that fucking are like that. But that would not be a good hang for me.
Right.
Because I do the shows. I say thank you to the audience. Everybody else say thank you to. And then I'm like, hey, what documentary do you want to watch back at the hotel?
I've never been a groupie chaser after the shows. I did used to rage really hard, and I actually.
How old are you now?
I'm 34.
Okay, gotcha.
I used to get faded as fuck after a show, but now I actually stopped drinking 3 weeks ago, and I'm like, I don't know how long it's gonna last.
Yeah.
I in my heart, I'm like, I don't think it's gonna be forever, but I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
I might get down the road and be like, I'm kind of over it.
Yeah, I do I'll have a Guinness here or there. People all the time will be like, oh, dude, let me buy you a shot. I'm like, how about a Guinness? Just let me enjoy it,
So I've been just chilling with no alcohol for the most part. So take me on the road with you, Jay.
Yeah, there we go. It's funny on Kev's thing. It's like a thing. All of us after the show, when we're in the hotel room, we different nights you'll be matched up. Like one night I was with Tony Baker, the next night I'm with Tahir in our room, right? But it's forensic files. It's always forensic files. I don't know why, but we're like, all right, let's put on forensic files.
Yo, Samuel J. Comro and Ralph Guerra, when they tour all the time. They're like homies.
Yeah.
They used to go back to their hotel room, and I don't know what the name of the show was, but they would talk about it every night on the weekend. I did 2 weekends with them. Every night they'd be like, yeah, dude, we went back to the hotel, and we started watching the show about this Pee Wee football league.
Oh, is it the Snoop Dogg one?
Maybe.
Snoop Dogg. It was on Amazon. Yeah, I watched that, all of it,
dude,
too.
He's like, it's crazy, these Pee Wee football kids.
Dude,
he's like, it's insane.
I watched that shit, too. It's like
they talked about it every dude, we binged out, dude.
So what's your binge? What's your binge show?
Ah, man.
Or what are you watching right now?
Well, I just finished Chernobyl.
How is that?
It's great.
I hear it's terrifying, but it also some of it's not accurate.
You know how stupid I am, dude? I knew about Chernobyl. I knew it was a disaster. I didn't understand it, right? I just knew it was bad. And then the Fukushima shit happened. And after watching Chernobyl, I understood the gravity of that. I had a friend, my old roommate, when that shit went down, he was like, dude, I'm not eating fish for like years. Unless it's farm fish, I'm like really gonna be on it. I'm gonna really pay attention. And I was like, you stupid.
Right.
That's dumb. I'm gonna go get some sushi right now.
Yeah.
But after watching Chernobyl and knowing how much that impacts the planet on like hundreds of years,
Yeah.
that shit sits for years. I was like, I'm gonna die of radiation sickness.
You eat a lot of fish?
I fuck fish up. I'm a sushi guy. I'm ready
Japan
for fish.
sushi.
I'm dead, dude. It's in my belly. I'm gonna die of the first Fukushima, patient zero, fucking whatever. I feel so. So I'm not. Now I'm afraid. So if you eat fish and you know the Fukushima thing and you watch Chernobyl, you might be fucked up like I am. But other than that, you know what I like to binge. I like shows that are like vignettes, like the one episode is a whole thing, and
Yeah.
the next episode is completely different.
Yeah.
So I'll watch Black Mirror, and I don't care how shitty it is. I'll watch all of
Dude.
them.
Oh, dude, I love. Did you see the new first episode of the new one?
That one's amazing.
That was a mind fuck.
I was like, whoa,
Dude, we watched it, Jack, me, and then
Jack me. I was gonna let it slide. I was gonna let it fucking slide, dude. I was like,
what is this fucking homoerotic?
it is
podcast?
gay pride,
Yeah.
happiness, awareness. Jay is fucking
just
road
like,
comics
Jack
in
me.
the ass. He
We're
wants
watching
to
Black Mirror. He jacked me.
jack me off with Black Mirror, and I banged a male comic in a
Jesus.
hotel room.
So Jack, Kane, Sean, and myself, Kane, who's usually the co-host on this, we watched it, and Jack worded it perfectly. Whoever the writer was, or however they filmed it, whoever did it so well. He made you uncomfortable to watch a two people, a guy and a girl, kiss. He made it uncomfortable.
That is crazy.
Right?
I never thought of that.
Yeah,
Damn.
mind fuck, right?
I've never watched that and been like, woo.
Right.
Woo.
You've seen it, right?
Yeah. You know what's amazing too is that they were all black. That was another thing that was important because
Oh yeah.
because like just black homosexuality is
Yeah.
never viewed in a light like that's why Moonlight was so big.
Yeah.
It was just like, it's not like two white guys. We see that all the time.
Wasn't
it was like
interracial. It was
these two black dudes who were like trying to figure each other out too. I was like, that was probably one of the best Black Mirror episodes.
It was
I saw.
so good.
And
I
then
was
the
just like,
second one was such dog shit.
I haven't seen that one, but Kane said it was like spoon fed.
I turned it off when the reveal came around. I was like, really? I went to sleep at 1:30 last night. I was like, really? I stayed up an extra hour for this bullshit.
Oh.
I turned it off before it ended and I went to bed. That's how bad the reveal is, dude.
Is it? All
It's that bad. I won't tell you what the episode's about or anything, but the reveal, once you see the reveal, you're like, really?
right. Kane was pretty pissed. He stayed up to watch part two, or that second one,
dude.
and
You're
he was just like,
fuck
fucking
you.
boo.
Who
Yeah.
wrote this? A goddamn 12-year-old?
All right,
Fucking
good to know. Good
bullshit. So rage watch it. Rage watch it.
to know. Oh yeah, dude.
rage
So
watch it.
I love, like, Kane and I will watch shitty movies.
Me too.
Yeah, like
All day.
like you could say, hey, this is a waste of time. It's the worst thing you're ever going to see.
Watching it.
I'll be like, dope. I have
it
the
on.
AMC thing. It's free to me. We went and saw. Did you ever see the movie Mother?
No. That's a horror movie, right?
Yeah, it's a fucking just a guy sucking his own dick. The director, was it Kanofsky or Ofsky or
Darren Aronofsky?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think he's the director. Mother, fucking. I'm giving this. I don't care if it's a
It's
spoiler.
one of those weird kids, too, and they're like in a weird house in the middle of nowhere.
So it's a house.
Yeah.
The house is Earth. Mother is the Virgin Mary. So they never tell anybody their names. There's Father, there's Mother. So Father is God.
I saw this. It's
You
with Jennifer Lawrence, right?
Yeah, I think so. And like they have a
And-
baby and they tear the baby apart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw that. I was
Yes.
like, I think I got
It's
high.
the Bible. It's the fucking.
I got high and watched it, and I was
Oh.
like, I gotta treat women better. I got to the end of that. I was like, I gotta do better to these women, yo.
Dude.
This is too much. They
dude.
can't be eating a baby up like that.
we were laughing at just the horse shit of the movie. Like it's not supposed to be a comedy. We're just dying laughing. But by the end of the movie, everybody was on board with us, laughing with us.
Oh,
And
you
that's
guys
what-
were in the theater.
Oh yeah. We go to the theaters and watch these.
That's
like,
beautiful.
Yeah.
I watched that by myself, and I didn't know what it was about. I just kept hearing like all these rave reviews, and I was just like freaking out. I was like, "What am I watching?" And then by the end of it, I was like, "Oh, it's a metaphor on how shitty men are."
Oh, dude. So fucking boo.
I have 2 friends, 3 friends actually. One of them may not consider me a friend, but 3 of them, as a foursome, we go out and we watch whatever shitty movie we decide on. And there's open threats in the group text about what the next. I keep telling them, I'm like, listen, I don't give a fuck who you think you are. We're going opening night to Sonic the Hedgehog. All right?
Yeah.
Stop it.
Absolutely.
I know you think you're not,
Dude,
but
throw
you
me in that
are.
group.
Dude, come with
I'm in.
We just went and watched Godzilla, and we knew it was going to be bad.
Dude, I saw Godzilla.
Yeah, we were
too.
just like, oh, we were dying laughing in the
Dude,
theater.
yes.
I fell asleep at one point. My friend leaned over and woke me. He's like, "You're gonna want to watch this shit."
Okay, you should, and you will come with me and Kane when we go see.
Well, yeah, you're gonna be here for a few months. You
Yeah.
should come with us to.
I'm 100% at the Godzilla one when he said like the lines are the fucking they're so bad when he was like, "Huh, looks like somebody's been working out." We just started dying laughing.
You know what I laughed at the hardest because we at one point they say King Ghidorah, and Thomas Middleditch has to deliver a joke. You know he hated. He looks into the screen. They cut to him. He goes, "Did somebody say gonorrhea?" And we're just all like, who wrote this schlock?
So bad.
And you know what I was like? I was like, what if that was the last shot of the movie and it was a picture wrap after that? So just say the line, Thomas Middleditch. What is it, gonorrhea? That's a picture wrap, folks. That is Godzilla. Everybody
Dude. I will say it was like for the fight scenes. I was like, that's cool.
Yeah, they were good.
I'm just gonna enjoy this for the fight scenes. I made. So I think this is the worst movie ever, I think, is, and I made them watch it. My buddy Kane and Ken watch it.
Bad good or bad bad?
Bad.
Okay.
And boring. And have you ever seen the movie Bug? Ashley Judd.
No.
And who's the guy that played Zod in the new Superman? He's been in other things.
I can't even think of who that actor is right now.
I fucking forget his name, but you want to see a fucking turd?
Really?
Watch Bug. It is like, oh, dude, I don't even know. I remember I saw it in the theaters with my buddy Ron Peterson, and I was like, this is awful. And then I hadn't seen it for, it's like 20 some years old.
Yeah.
And I told them, I was like, I want you guys to watch this movie. I'm telling you, it's the worst movie you ever see. And we watched it, and they were like, I'm angry. They're like, I am angry.
How bad it is?
Oh, dude, it's
Jesus Christ.
Watch Bug with your buddies.
Okay.
I won't sit through it again because it's.
I
so
never
bad.
I always like. I like watching movies that's so bad that they make me laugh.
Yeah, those are the best.
Yeah, like one of my favorite movies is Birdemic.
I haven't seen it, but that name
like,
alone
it feels
is
like a student film. All the graphics feel like they got it off of old Mac and just put it in there. I think it was on. I swear it was on Netflix for a while. It may not be there anymore.
Birdemic.
But it's called Birdemic. It's just these birds. It's so bad, Jay. Like it looks like Super Nintendo graphics for all the birds, and people are just like, oh no! But they're like really acting.
Oh,
It's clearly not. We're making
which makes it that
fun.
much better.
Oh my gosh, man!
It's like a bird on a string here that's like plastic, and they're like, ah.
And these motherfuckers like, if I act, I might get some more work out of this film. That's the tragedy is when you know the actors are like, I got to give this my all.
Have you ever had a movie that you were, because I have one that you were like, oh, this movie's awful, but then something in the movie flips it, and you're like, oh fuck, this is great. This is actually great.
Ooh, that's hard. That's hard. Okay, I got one. Star Wars. What is the reboot one?
Revenge of the Sith, or I don't know.
No, the reboot one with
the
the
name.
young Anakin and the pod racing. Phantom Menace.
Oh,
Phantom Menace.
really? You were hating it, and then something happened. You like, I like it.
Okay, so full disclosure, I like to take open runny shits on the Star Wars franchise.
Gotcha.
All right, I think it's one of the corniest children operas of our entire generation. It's so black and so white. There's no in between. I thought Rogue One was the best Star Wars movie because it finally like humanized this conflict in a way that's like there's gray areas.
Yeah.
And I hated Star Wars because it's always like these are the evil guys because they're in black, and then these are the good guys because they're all white people and they have no emotions. And I always hated it, and I was like, people always shit on Phantom Menace. They said it's the worst Star Wars movie. I'm like, oh, you know why it's not? It's because it's the only movie with it's the only movie with a lightsaber battle that anyone gives a shit about. So how can it be bad? Every Star Wars movie, you want this epic lightsaber battle.
Yeah.
And Phantom Menace is the only one that's delivered.
Who is that? The one with Darth Maul?
Yes.
Ah, okay.
I was like, so how can the movie be bad when it's delivered the only lightsaber battle that people give a shit about?
You make a valid argument.
And every time I tell it to a Star Wars fan, they go, ah. They're like, all right.
I can't believe I can't think of the name right now of mine. It was Matthew McConaughey's in it, and Bill Paxton is in it. And it's not Fallen.
Interstellar?
No. It's so I'll just tell you the setup. So movie starts. It's at night, and you're outside of the FBI headquarters. And this guy walks into the FBI headquarters and requests the Hand of God investigator, the Hand of God killer investigator. Who's investigating that? They call him. So he's now waiting in this guy's office. And the guy finally shows up, and it's Matthew McConaughey. That's the guy that said, I want to talk to this investigator. The investigator's like, what's up? And he goes, I know who the Hand of God killer is. And he goes, okay, so talk to me. So he starts telling this story about his dad, who's played by Bill Paxton back in the day. So Bill Paxton has two boys. They're like in the countryside. I don't know where the mom's at. I think she's dead or whatever. And Bill Paxton, it's just, like the fucking Norman Rockwell,
Yeah.
Son, here's breakfast. Have a good day at school. One night, like we say our prayers and everything. One night he bursts into their room and he goes, kids, boys, wake up. And they're like, what? And he goes, I had a vision. God spoke to me. There's demons that walk among us, and God has chosen us to kill these demons. And then he says that, and it's pretty much like, okay, now go back to bed, right? So there's two boys.
Okay.
And one of the boys, the youngest, is just like, I'm with you, Dad. I believe in God. I'm with you. And the other, a little bit older son is just kind of like, okay, Dad, right? And then it goes from there, right? And I don't want to spoil it. I think is it called Fallen?
I think it's called Dallas Buyers Club.
Then he grows up. He gets AIDS.
He gets AIDS
from a guy's hand.
He
It's the
starts
hand of
fucking
God.
dudes.
Frailty. That's the name of it.
Okay.
Frailty. And
What's that? Is that the demon hunter part? The part that like changes you over?
Okay. Do you want me to just tell you?
Fuck yeah.
Okay. So spoiler alert. This is why I love this movie. So as you're watching this movie, I'm watching this, and like the boys are growing up, and like the dad is going out and he's killing these demons that walk among us, right?
Sounds rad.
Yeah, and so the older son is just like, he's like, Dad, no, you're crazy, blah, 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 right? So as I'm watching this whole movie, I'm thinking it's the dumbest movie I've ever seen. I'm like, get it, blah, blah, blah. Come to find out, and it mind fucked me, because no, he did have these visions. Everything he said was true. And what happened was, Matthew McConaughey, you thought he was the older kid, that in the old story that didn't believe it, but no, he's the younger kid that is now reporting, and he's basically saying, I have this power where he can like look and touch people, and he knows they're demons. So he's like, I had a list that I had to fucking take out, and he looked at his this FBI agent's mom's picture, and he touched the thing and realized the FBI agent dude had killed his mom way back in the day, and his last thing was to kill this fucking FBI agent. And I was like, oh fuck, this went from like my most annoying movie to like,
So
this
like
is
it
dope.
made it real.
It was so
grounded.
dope. And I was like, it's such a mind fuck that I was like, oh, we're so quick to be like, oh, that shit's make believe.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, oh fuck, he had a message. It's dope.
That's dope.
You should see it.
I want to watch it now.
Yeah,
When did it come out?
It's probably 20-some years old. I'm old.
Oh, so it looks shitty.
No, it's good, dude.
It looks good still.
You look at
That's
it. You go
key.
watch it. Did you say that's gay?
I said that's key.
Oh, I thought you were like,
It's also
gay.
very gay, and I'm into it.
Now, as we wrap this up, I would direct people to your website, but there's nothing there. So what's your social media? And this will come out Wednesday. So what do you want to plug? I'm sure other than
So I usually fuck with Instagram. So at the Anwar Newton, TheAnwarNewton. But you can follow the website for the show, thisweeksuckstonight.com.
Who does that website?
I do that. That's basically, I should just start putting my own personal dates on the front page.
Well, and also you do, Mike told me you do all the poster stuff, like the Photoshop.
I do all
You're
the
good with
Photoshop.
that shit.
Yeah, I'm an art kid, dog. I should have been in graphic design. I should have been. My career was graphic design, and I fucked that up, and now I'm a comic. I think to be a comic, you have to have several careers that you personally fucked up, and then you're like, let's just be funny.
You know, I used to have a martial arts school.
What?
I taught MMA. Well, I taught martial arts for.
And you were this
years.
tall and this big?
Yeah. I was a little thinner.
Fuck people up, man.
I had a school for 2 years. Taught, yeah.
You like your own dojo?
Yeah. Well, I studied with 2 of Bruce Lee's original students.
Shut the fuck up.
That says Wing Chun Do.
There's no way.
I'll show you some pictures after this.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, the show Thursday, 10:30 at Stand Up Live. I think
every Thursday.
And
you do a writer's room every Wednesday.
Yeah, me and Mike have to write the show every Wednesday night. We'll get on Google Hang and we'll just go through the stories and see what's the funniest shit. And then before 10:30 on Thursday, I get home from work at 6, and it's been 4 hours putting the show together. It's all like, it feels like a real daily show because they're like racing to the most current version of the story.
Yeah.
I listen to Trevor Noah talk about, he's like, sometimes we're writing a joke right before the cameras go on. So I'm like, now I know that frantic energy of producing a show.
Fridays, are you just dead? Or are you
inside.
now in a rhythm?
No, Fridays, I usually have shows, but I don't got shit going on this Friday.
No, I mean, are you like just beat and tired?
No.
Okay.
Never, man. This show, like, it doesn't take the energy. It's never a bad energy. It is an energy I have to expend to make it happen.
Right.
And sometimes it's a little bit more chaotic, and most times it's like, well, the show's the show. But I never get into Friday like.
Never drank.
Even when I like drank. Even like when we left the show, went to another bar, and the whole show went with us to the bar, and we drank to 2 a.m. and then smoked weed to like 2:30, 3 a.m. in the morning, and then I got up for work at 7 a.m. I still wasn't tired the next day. I'd just be happy that it happened.
Oh, the youth.
Yeah. So I don't do that anymore. But Friday is always good. I'm always just like, God, I could do this for the rest of my life.
That's dope. And, so Thursday you got your show. Anything else coming up this week you want to plug?
Nah, just hanging out. You come hanging out. I'm at 16th Street in McDowell. If you're in Phoenix, I can meet you at the Filiberto's. Get me some burritos. We can kick it. We get a yarito at the Carniceria at Los Reyes around the street. They come through.
And I'm at Big Irish J on everything. And I'm gonna be up in Seattle and Spokane end of this month. 2-week run up there in Washington. Dates coming up in Vegas, Wisconsin, Skyline, Sacramento, Portland, Richland. Just go to bigirishj.com. Thanks, Anwar. Appreciate it.
Thank you.